Okay. All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Brock Beard from lastcar.info. Just coming at you during a rain delay here, of course, during the race at New Hampshire. We'll get more into that in our regular post-race show. I anticipate either going to be at the end of today's race if they get it in, or whatever day it turns out to be. If it gets pushed past today, we'll be doing the full race live stream for that at the conclusion of it. So that's not what this stream is about here. What I wanted to jump into, I was going to do a stream on this during the middle of the week here, but I do have some updates on the J.D. McDuffie book. Not bad news, but just kind of news one way or the other. Earlier this year, Waldorf Publishing did not renew my contract to continue to publish J.D. The Life and Death of a Forgotten NASCAR Legend. Now, what does that mean? Copies of the book are still available. They're still available on Amazon and every place else. The listing, as far as I know, is going to stay up as long as there's still a current inventory of books. So there's not going to be a shortage of copies. However, as of earlier this year, the rights to the book have reverted back to me. Now, some of you may have noticed over this weekend, there is now another listing for the JD book on there. And that is what I've been working on this weekend, has been trying to republish it now under my own name. And by doing that, I was going to make a couple of tweaks to it with some other information that has come together since the book was published back in 2018. Not any major changes, but just a couple of little things I noticed along the way. Most authors will tell you that trying to work on one book or another, it's kind of an ongoing process. So I figured I'd take advantage of this to republish it there. As of this weekend, I still have a digital version that's pretty much ready to go. That'll be up there as well. I anticipate that Waldorf will probably pull down their version of the listing at some point. I'm still working out the details with that on the publisher there, but I want to make sure that there's a transition so that it's still, of course, available for anybody that wants to see it. So again, the good news is, again, for those of you just joining in here, the news is that the contract was not renewed with Waldorf for the publishing of the J.D. McDuffie book. I did notify people in the Patreon, those of you who receive your newsletters, I mentioned that in there. And I wanted to wait a while to kind of announce this until I had the full new listing already established. I've got it basically started again with the digital version of it with some updates and tweaks in it. I'm still trying to get the formatting just right. I anticipate still being able to produce it in paperback in this new version of it. I just had an absolute nightmare of a time trying to straighten it out there. But the good news is the JD book will absolutely still be available. And of course, we go forward with the Derek Cope book and everything. There's going to be much more content to come on that. But again, one thing I also want to make very clear is, again, this is nothing against Waldorf on that. What it came down to in our discussions was just, again, COVID and the effect of everything last year. They've had to tighten up their catalog a little bit. And they were, of course, very appreciative of, how well the book performed. And, of course, that's thanks to you folks out there. So, again, it's unfortunate. They did a great job, working with me on the book and everything. But yeah, from, pretty soon there's going to be a transitional period here in a bit where there's going to be a listing both under my own name. I've actually made a tweak to it where the new cover of the book actually has a different picture of JD's car on the cover. And I've decided to tighten up the title name to just JD by itself, because I think that just, that's kind of one of the things I was kind of working on there. So you'll notice there's going to be a difference there. I think the other listing, it's still up there today for the digital version of the updated one. But both of them are going to be available for a time. I haven't got a time frame exactly on when they're going to close their listing. This has kind of been an ongoing process for a couple of months, really. Yeah, so we're going to just make sure there's no confusion out there, because I anticipate seeing another listing up there. You're like, wait, is this an official one? Is somebody else copying it? No. That's another version that I'm putting up there. If you're interested in that, the other version of it, again, I would kind of hold off on downloading it for a bit here, because I'm still trying to get the formatting right. But the other good thing, that's something I'm very excited about this, because the rights reverted back to me on the J.D. McDuffie book, that also means that I can do my own audiobook. And I know there were a lot of concerns that people had with the original audio recording of it that Waldorf put together. Now, again, kudos again to Waldorf for putting this together. Although when we had original discussions at the beginning, my understanding was that we couldn't afford to do an audiobook, so I didn't push to be able to narrate it. Of course, I would have loved to do so myself, given the other videos and everything that I've put together. But now that the rights have reverted back to me, I now have the opportunity to do a recording of the book, an audiobook version of my own, which I do intend to do. So if I have trouble getting the actual downloaded, the digital version or the paperback, if it gets tricky trying to upload those, the interface should be a lot easier with the audiobook. So if you like the Waldorf version, of course, that's still there. But if you're interested in me narrating the book, I'm absolutely open to that as well. So I don't have a time frame on that. I'd like to get it done by next month here, of course, with the anniversary of the accident coming up in this August. But if that's not the case, hopefully sometime in the bit there. So that's kind of why I've been kind of juggling with a couple different projects, and why the latest episode of Rise of the Field Fillers has taken a bit of time. I've been kind of catching up on that there as well. But very excited to get that going. And again, I think this opens some other opportunities between both this book and, we'll see what happens with the Derek Cope book. But again, I want to make very clear, nothing against Waldorf or anything like that. They've been great supporters there on the book. Unfortunately, these business decisions just have to be made somewhere along the way. But with that decision being made, I want to make sure that you guys are all aware of that too. So again, for those of you who are tuning in a bit late, I don't know how much longer it's going to be till we start the race here. This isn't the full-on race live stream. I haven't talked anything about the race today. Given the last place battle, there's already going to be plenty to talk about, and I'll cover that after the race today. But again, the J.D. McDuffie book, my contract was not renewed with Waldorf Publishing. The book, however, is still available. There are still copies that are available from Waldorf and on Amazon and so forth. But in the near future, that listing is going to go away, and I'm going to be self-publishing the book. And while self-publishing it, there's going to be a couple of tweaks to it there, not major tweaks to it. I mean, really substantially, it's going to be the same book, just a couple little things of information and updates since the last one. And also looking into doing my own audiobook. And one other thing too, with August and the anniversary of the accident coming up, I am planning on doing a special stream that night on August 11th. So stay tuned for some more details on that as well. So certainly plenty to look forward to, plenty of content coming up here. And of course, the Derek Cope book, everything's, we're still moving forward on that as well. But just giving you an update on the JD book. So again, enjoy the race, folks. We'll be back here on this channel a little bit later tonight. And we'll, of course, talk about Kyle Busch's last place finish, of course, pending post-race inspection. And everything else from the weekend in New Hampshire as we head into the 2-week break for the Olympics. So enjoy the race, folks, and I'll see you after the show.